Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Today I want to talk about 5 singles that I have found in my travels, and they've all got really good stories to them, stories that mean something to me. And I feel that I want to share those with you now because music is this really powerful tool that, for me, any record that I pull out of my record collection, I can tell a story about. Like, I know where I bought it. I know what song it was that drew me to that record. I know why I bought that record. I know what country, I know what store, most of the time. And I think that's awesome that, one record, one song can take you back to a moment in time. And so these 5 records that I've got for you today all have really interesting stories to them. And so I want to go through those with you now, just because I love 45s. And when I meet people, other record collectors that love 45s, I am really stoked to talk to them about singles because they usually turn me on to records that I have never heard of. And they end up being on my want list and things that I need to find because, I don't know, there's just something cool about the 45. You know what I mean? Like, growing up in the punk scene, 45s was our thing. Like, that's what we did. We released 45s. We bought 45s. And distribution companies like what we had in Adelaide, which is Spiral Objective, had a catalogue filled with 45s that we could order from them. And it was just awesome. Like, I ended up with so many records from that place because they were so cheap and you could take the gamble on them without, breaking the bank. So the first of these records I want to talk about is this band, the 321s. I got this single from Vinyl Solution Records in Huntington Beach in California. What happened was that I went to this store. I was looking for a single of demos that was put out by the Marvelous Darlings. Well, not put out by them, it was a bootleg, but they exist, and it's the only Marvelous Darlings 7-inch that I don't have. Now, I went into this store and they just had so many singles there, and he had a lot of power pop. So I told the guy what I was looking for, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh dude, if you love that band, you need this." And he gave me this record and said, "Get a hold of that, you're going to love it." Now, I've never heard of this band. I knew nothing about it. The song is called Jenny, and it comes on coloured vinyl. There you go. And it's limited to 500 copies. And there you go, that's the number there on the back. So, Fake or Fraud is the B-side. The A-side is where this record rules. The song Jenny is so damn catchy. Like, it really is. Now, if you know anyone called Jenny, don't sing this song around them, unless you actually hate them. But it's like they keep saying, "Jenny, you're an asshole." And it is, but it's done in the catchiest way. Now, like I said, I'd never heard of this band before, but it was given to me. I took it home, and when I put it on the turntable, I couldn't believe how good this song was. It just blew my mind. Now, thankfully, if you can't find this 7-inch, don't stress, because the good folks at 321s have actually gone and uploaded this for free onto Bandcamp, so you can download it and enjoy the song too. But if you can find this single, do yourself a favor and grab it, because it's really, really good. I will put the links to all these singles in the description below, so if you were interested in buying these records, you could do so. Awesome, this single rules. Seriously, Jenny, even if there was nothing on the B-side, it doesn't matter because Jenny is such a good song, it's worth whatever amount you pay. So yeah, Jenny by the 321s, check it out. The next single I'm going to talk about is Alicia Pop, aka Alicia Trout. Yes, from the River City Tan Lines and a bunch of other bands, hanging out with Jay Raytard and all that sort of stuff. This was a pop single she released called Shining Apple. Now, I heard about this single many, many years ago. It was played when it came out on a podcast. This would have been around about 2010, 2011. And I heard the song and I was immediately caught. It's a pop song. It's like just done on like a Casio keyboard or something like that. But there's just something about it that I was drawn in, and I was like, I need this song.
The world is just falling asleep
Now this record is limited to 400 copies, and every time I went somewhere, I couldn't find this record anywhere. I knew it existed, obviously, because the podcast talked about it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And so then in 2013, I was in My Mind's Eye Records in Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm just flicking through again. This guy had hundreds of 45s. And I was so, drawn to just scouring the 45 section, looking for anything that I liked. And I just sat there thinking to myself, I wonder if he has that Alicia Pop single. He seemed to have everything else. And I just flicked through and flicked through and flicked through. And there it was. It just jumped out at me. And I was like, oh my God, it's here. And it was $3. And so I bought it. And this song may not mean anything to anybody, but it meant something to me. And I was just blown away by it. Alicia Trout, this song is beautiful. I love it. So not that you're ever going to see this, but still, Shining Apple is a really, really good song. And I'm glad I finally found the 7-inch vinyl. There's the back cover. And as you can see down here, limited to 400 copies. Awesome. Certified PR Records. The Dwarfs, I Want to Kill Your Boyfriend, released on Sympathy for the Record Industry. Not a rare single. I'm pretty sure they pressed thousands of these things. But this was my introduction to the Dwarfs. I bought this, must have been around about 92, somewhere around that. I bought it purely for the fact that the song was called I Want to Kill Your Boyfriend. I laughed so hard when I saw it in the Spiral Objective catalogue that I bought it. And it was my introduction to the Dwarfs. Now, I had no idea who the Dwarfs were. I didn't know how over the top, depraved, debaucherous, whatever. I didn't realize they were anything like that. I just saw there was a song called I Want to Kill Your Boyfriend. I was like, man, that sounds so funny. I got to buy this single. It was pretty cheap. It was like $3.50 or something like that. It's on colored vinyl. So there you go. Sympathy for the Record Industry. Awesome. There's the back cover. How cool is that? The B-side is called Sit on My Face. So obviously when I got this record in the mail from Spiral Objective and I saw the back cover and the song was called Sit on My Face, I was like, oh my God, like who are these guys? Anyway, I became obsessed with the Dwarfs, and since that day I've tried to collect every single Dwarfs record that I can find. I do have a pretty extensive Dwarfs collection. It's not complete. It's far from complete. But maybe one day I will do a video on my Dwarfs collection. The only problem is that the Dwarfs record covers usually involve lots of nudity, so I can't really show them unless I somehow censor them or something like that, which I guess I can do in After Effects or editing or something like that. But still, I Want to Kill Your Boyfriend is a great song, and it's a great single, and I'm stoked I discovered the band. And to this day, I still love this band and think that they're one of the greatest bands ever. And there aren't many bands that I'm diehard a collector of, but the Dwarfs is definitely one of them. So, yeah. Love this band, love this single. Thanks, Spiral Objective, once again. I discovered this next single because basically what happened was I was given a videotape that had a bunch of punk stuff on it. And it had a lot of, what was that TV program called where, and it's like DI were on it and Bad Religion were on it. It was like a cable channel. I can't remember the name of the program. But anyway, I got given this videotape and it had all this like footage of, like I remember I had the Soul Asylum video for Some Time to Return, which blew my mind because that song is amazing and I love Soul Asylum and I'd never seen the video before. But that was on it. And then, yeah, Bad Religion were doing songs off How Could Hell Be Any Worse? And DI were on there. Fear were on there doing Fuck Christmas. It was awesome. They had this music video on there for Naked Ray Gun's Vanilla Blue. Now, I'd never heard Naked Ray Gun before. I'd heard of Naked Ray Gun, but never heard their music. Vanilla Blue came on and it blew me away. This whole chorus to this song, this Lost Control Again line that he says, it just grabbed me. It really did. Still to this day, I think this is the greatest song that the band has ever recorded. And I know they've done amazing shit throughout their whole career, but this single, this is the one, man. Like, for me, this is the one. I was saddened to hear that Pierre Kesby, the songwriter of Vanilla Blue, has actually passed away a few years back, which is sad. Couldn't believe it when I read that because this song means so much to me. And, he'll never know how much this song means to me. But it really does. And I feel that Vanilla Blue, he's given us this, so his legacy and memory will live on forever. This song, it's so important. There's just something about that chorus, man. Lost control again today. Like, One of the lines in it that I really love is when he says, "You're something special, that's for sure." It's just the way the vocal delivery is on this song, the melody, the guitar tones, everything about this is just fantastic. It comes on blue vinyl, of course it does because it's vanilla blue. I found this in Amoeba for $1.99 in Hollywood. I couldn't believe it because, I love this song so much, and I'm flicking through all these 7-inches that they had there, and this was just sitting there, and I just couldn't believe it, and I was like, there is no way I'm leaving this behind. This is just one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, seriously, this is one of my favorite songs of all time. If you ever got a mixtape of me in the 90s, I would have recorded that song on it for you because that's just what I did. I had it on a compilation album, and so, what's that compilation album called? It was some weird compilation, and this song was on it, and that's how I had that song for so long, because, it wasn't on anything else that I had, but it was on that comp, and so I would record this song onto mixtapes to everybody and say, you gotta hear this song, it's so good. But now I finally have it on 7-inch vinyl, and I must have found this like 5 years ago, and yeah, I love it. Never ever seen it since. I'm sure it's not rare, I'm sure you could find it anywhere, but to me, it means the world. This last single I want to talk about today is very emotional to me for numerous reasons. It is Sad Tomorrow by the Muffs. The first time I ever saw the Muffs, it was in Japan. It was at a venue called Shelter, and this was in 2011. Now, I was over in Japan anyway, and there was no way I was going to miss the Muffs. I'd never seen them before. I'd been a fan of them since, the Sympathy record industry singles way back in the day. Never seen them live, though. They never came to Australia. I wrote to them beforehand, and I said, look, I'm going to Japan. Ronnie, the bass player, put me on the guest list. I get to Shelter, and the band comes on, and they play this incredible set. I have a bunch of photos of it, which you'll see now. They played everything I wanted to see. I did ask Kim if they were going to be playing Lucky Guy before that, because I said, that's like my favourite Muffs song. Would you play that? And she said, yes, we will definitely play that for you in Japan, in Shelter. And so I get there, and they did play it. They played an amazing set. All the songs that I wanted to hear were played. It was incredible. It really was. I got to see the Muffs finally after being a fan for 20 odd years. After the show, they were in the green room. There's not much of a green room at Shelter, it's very small, but they were there and everybody was leaving. And I thought, I got to say thank you, to Ronnie for putting me on the guest list. I've done interviews with Kim in the past, and we had stayed in touch on and off, like, not regularly, but like every now and then we would, make a comment on Facebook or things like that. And so I went up to the green room and I said, hey, how's it going, guys? And immediately Kim knew who I was, and she jumped up and she said, oh my God, I feel like I've known you forever. And she gave me the biggest hug. Then Ronnie got up and shook my hand and introduced me to the drummer as well, Roy. And we were just talking about music and records and their time in Japan. And he told me, he said, thanks for coming out, etc., etc. What are you doing now? And I said, I got to go. I got a plane to catch tomorrow, but I just, I got to get out because everybody else is leaving or whatever. And they said, no, hang around. It's Roy's birthday. Celebrate with us. So I hung around and hung out with the Muffs and celebrated Roy's birthday. A few years later, I saw the Muffs live at Punk Rock Bowling in 2000 and maybe 2015, 2016. They played at Punk Rock Bowling. No, it was 2015. I went to the merch desk after they played and they were all there. All the Muffs were there. Kim saw me again and gave me the biggest hug, and she couldn't believe that I was there, and she was stoked. Now, I bought a copy of Whoop-De-Doo at the time, and they all signed it for me. And Kim wrote on it, to the Aussie guy. That's how she always knew me, was the Aussie guy. Fast forward to 2019, and Kim passes away in October, early October. I was going to Japan with my mum on the 5th of October. We get to Japan on the 5th, and I was telling my mum that day on the plane flight that, that I was really bummed out about the Muffs, about what happened to Kim. And it was, really sad because the last time I was in Japan, I was hanging out with them, with the Muffs, and I got to see them play, in Japan. And so it's kind of special for me. So we drop off all our bags at the hotel in Shinjuku and we went into Shibuya. And while we were in Shibuya, I went to a record store there and I was talking to my mum about just records and stuff. My mum's a good sport. She was hanging in there. And the last record I needed to complete my Muffs vinyl discography was Sad Tomorrow. And there it was for 300 yen in a pile of singles. And I showed it to my mum. And I said to my mum, this is the last record of the Muffs I need. This is it. I've finished the vinyl collection of the Muffs in Japan, which is the first time I saw them and met them. So it meant the world to me to find this. I felt like that, she'd only passed away a few days before, and Sad Tomorrow was the single that was there. I don't know about you guys. It seemed like there was something special about that moment, because it definitely felt something special to me. I couldn't believe it. I showed it to my mum. I said, Mum, this is the last one. Oh my God, I can't believe I found this here. Here's the vinyl. I love the way the vinyl looks on this. The label and stuff looks really cool. So, I don't know. I'm not superstitious or anything like that. There's the back cover. So you can see that there. They're numbered on the front, as you can see that there. But I don't know, it just seemed like there was something special about finding the last Muffs record I needed a few days after Kim had passed away in Japan, which was the first time that I saw them and met them. So yeah, it's a very special record to me, as all the Muffs records are, but this one especially, being that it was the last one I needed. Kim, may you rest in peace. She was one of the greatest songwriters and voices of all time. And it's not the same without her. Being in the punk scene, it's not the same. It's not the same without the Muffs. Because that band meant so much to me, as like they meant so much to everybody that fell in love with their music. Kim was a gem. She really was. She was one of the nicest people ever. And like I said, she welcomed me with open arms and was so happy to meet when we finally met, after we'd been corresponding since whenever Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow came out. That was when I interviewed her. And we'd been corresponding back and forth since then. But wow. Yeah, the Muffs, man. If you don't know the Muffs or you're still not hip to the Muffs, do yourself a favour. Give them a whirl. So, there we go, my friends. That was 5 really important singles that I have found in my travels and the stories behind them. What are yours? Let me know what your favourite singles are, 7-inch vinyl records that you have found that just mean the world to you. Share it in the comments below, because I love reading that stuff. I really do. We are vinyl nerds. We are a vinyl community, and we look out for each other and we care for each other. So I'm always confused whenever people click dislike on these videos. It's like, what do you dislike about people who love records? It doesn't make any sense to me. We're supposed to be a positive community. Regardless if you like these records or not, man, you should be supportive of each other. I don't like every record that people talk about online either, but I'm stoked that people are talking about them. That's the important thing. But anyway, my friends, thanks for watching. You take care of yourselves and look out for each other. And, tomorrow will be a better day. All the best, guys. I'll see you in the next video.